Good morning. Thanks for joining us today at the Online Digital Transformation Conference. My name is Michael Wheeler-Wyatt and I'm the Head of Chrome Enterprise EMEA here at Google. And in this talk, I'm going to take a look at the evolution of the workplace towards a distributed model and introduce the technology that can empower the modern cloud workforce. Work is less and less now about where. We all know this. In our professional lifetimes alone, we have seen the spaces and technology of work change dramatically, moving away from the primary of large, static, heavily staffed offices full of physical anchors and boundaries. Our cubicles became open floor pans, and now our desks are often wherever we happen to be. COVID, for example, here I am in my study at home. It's happening right now, today, here in our homes. We've gone from desktops to laptops to phones, landlines to wireless, physical server farms to virtualization to workloads in the cloud, scheduling meeting rooms to calendaring video conferences. Things have really changed. The shape of business itself has changed too. There's been a steady and sometimes dramatic shift towards services and information work, and the transformation of industries of every kind by big data, which is itself intangible without place. In many ways, businesses now exist in a boundless world, populated by an increasing number of workers whose everyday tools are smartphones, PCs, and of course, tablets. And along the way, it's created a workplace beyond place, one not limited by physical requirements anymore. We stopped thinking about the office and started thinking about our own office. It began with road warriors, a way back, creating value from the field. It continues with trends like co-working and imperatives like the need to expand tech access to the underserved wherever they may be. And with the transformation of personal computing, a journey which we've all been along for a while, the devices in our hands that have fundamentally made our lifestyles now mobile. This in turn enables the work from home, work from anywhere model. It's now become reality. And this drives an incredible demand for it. In COVID, for example, if we didn't know this already, we certainly do now. These are all pre-pandemic numbers, which I'm showing on the slides, numbers that are already on a significant uplift way before COVID hit. These changes aren't stopping either. In fact, trends show the shift is only accelerating and it will continue to accelerate. Employees, especially the employees that we want and we need, they want more of this. Going back to the office is going to be, in a lot of instances, something that maybe we don't do anymore. Really, they want more of this. More than a third would take a pay cut, in fact, to actually continue to work from home. Of course, pre-COVID, which these stats are, continue here. Now that essentially 100% of us have had the chance to work remotely, we've all tasted that rainbow. It will be interesting actually to see how these figures and these numbers sit, and interestingly, in the months to come and through 2021. But the bottom line is the best talent works, wants to work, and expects to work in this way. At home, truly mobile. And as companies see the benefits too, the shifts are actually shaping business and technology decisions. It's a new age based on a new way of work. And we're actually just as productive. Productivity in my team, for example, it hasn't gone down. In fact, it's gone up because we're now not traveling to work. We're not commuting. We're not meeting people at the water cooler or in the staircase going up to lunch. So we've become a lot more productive. And COVID has been a forcing function that has brought this new age to all of us with unprecedented speed which we never knew would come, at the rate that it has. The genie is out of the bottle and we can't go back. These changes have fundamentally and permanently changed what work and businesses now look like. This is the age of the cloud worker. It's been coming now. Suddenly, for many of us, we're in it, on our front lines and throughout all of our organizations. But do we actually recognize what this cloud worker term means? Do we know how to operate in it? And more importantly, do we know how to seize this potential? Because it is massive. So first of all, let's make sure we're on the same page about the actual term cloud worker. Maybe you've heard it before. Maybe you've heard it before from Google. It's something that we've been pitching for quite a while, but it's worth defining again. Here's a pretty practical definition. A cloud worker uses a laptop, uses cloud apps daily, and spends more than 3 hours each day working in a browser. So they use a laptop, They use cloud apps every day, and they're spending more than 3 hours a day inside a browser. And a recent study found that 2 in 5 information workers already qualify as cloud workers based on how they use the technology. That's actually up from 1 in 4 2 years ago. Now, interestingly enough, these figures are also pre-pandemic. So overnight, we've all had to start learning how to become cloud workers. Look at the increase in education. Look at the differences in education now. If you've got children, you're probably homeschooling them. They're probably at home because a lot of schools, especially in the UK and and across Europe, a lot of schools are now closed. So all these kids and all these children have now got devices, and in the main, they are Chromebooks because we are #1 across education in Chrome. So this sort of shift from education is now hitting the enterprise and now hitting the workplace, because cloud workers are the workers who are native to our boundless world. They exist across all industries now, not just retail, but construction, healthcare, professional services, manufacturing, and beyond. And across all functions, from the boardroom now to the front line. And as this trend continues, virtually any role has the potential to become a cloud worker. COVID is something that has proven this to be absolutely 100% true. And each cloud worker adds agility and flexibility to the enterprise. So there's a lot of advantages. But once connected and in sync, then from the cloud force, where their individual strengths can actually be amplified at scale. They're more connected. They're more connected to each other, but also to all the pieces of the business and the environments where it operates. And they're in sync. It's all about having business critical data in real time, having it there when you need it, shared with those who need it, collaboration when you need it, and being able to, actually collaborate and sync with the right people at the right time, and to tap into what they know. See, can reveal and accomplish even far from the HQ. They don't have to be in the office. They don't have to be tethered anymore. Technology is amazing. It's got us to this place. The cloud workforce can be a force multiplier for your business and for every business across the globe, a sum greater than all of its parts. A competitive advantage as well that leads to better insights, which can reveal and create new, unknown before business opportunities. It readies business to seize them while they get stronger inside and out. If they weren't already, in COVID, these attributes can now be a critical part of business continuity planning, which can be honest, we're all making part of our post-recovery priorities. Of course, seizing this opportunity advantage means retaining the best talent. We saw this confirmed in a recent Stanford research study. And managing these new ways of working means dealing with new challenges. The same things that create the cloud worker advantage, their mobility, their untethered potential, their placelessness, as we call it, can also introduce risk. And it's something we need to be aware of, because with the predictability and physical protections of the old place workforce not in place, this new world, new vulnerabilities can and do in fact exist. Security threats, risks around shadow IT, and a lot more. So how we empower the cloud workforce is absolutely critical. I think we all now take it for granted that it's here. We need mobility. We need to work from home. We need the tools and applications and the technology and the collaboration to exist where we are today. In this case, here in my study. It will demand a new mindset change, though. We will need to reshape our organizations to support these new cloud workers, enabling them to thrive even as we face unprecedented changes. COVID's still here. The pandemic's still here. 2020, we thought it would slow down, but it isn't. 2021, it's still here, and it looks like it's continuing. Especially in the UK here in January, the rates, unfortunately, are going up. So we need to be honest that the necessary tools for cloud workers themselves and the IT teams who support them probably aren't all in place. But we can do it right. And if we do it right, the way we set up the technology can not only empower our workers and our colleagues and help them seize business advantage, but it can actually influence far more within our own enterprises and our companies. We've seen the role of the CIO shift as companies tackle digital transformation. You've had to tackle it really, really quickly, a lot more quickly than you would have had to have done with your normal plans. CTOs, IT directors and IT teams are now taking a seat at a bigger table and establishing IT not just as a cost center, but actually as a revenue driver by helping create new products and services. The shift to this model built around cloud workers puts IT in a position of power and influence within the business. Power and influence within the business that might not have been there a few years ago, might not have actually been there last year. And it spans across HR, operations, business strategy, and more. Each of us enabling culture alongside productivity and, of course, efficiency. Shifting the enterprise model. Sounds really easy, right? But it starts with the right technology choices. It's an obvious thing to say, but it does. Choices that are native to the Boundless workplace and built with cloud workers in mind are now paramount and very important, because the right choices for cloud workers are the right choices for your business and all businesses. So let's take a look at the 4 categories of change. It starts with the right security, the right level of control for the IT actually, the right user tools, and of course the right devices. So it's the right security, the right level of control for IT, the right user tools, and the right devices. The good news is that the right choices here can help create value through reduced acquisition and operational costs, improved uptime, reduced data risk, and more efficiencies that drive savings and free up resources for other important investments. Investments like AI, investments like profitability in the company, investments like culture and employee well-being, which is even more important in today's world. So let's begin with security. The biggest thing on everyone's mind, right? We talked about the landscape that the cloud worker exists in and the security implications to consider, from compliance to data handling to device loss. And this can often seem like a trade-off between empowerment and keeping users and companies' data secure. But the right platforms, tools, and devices for cloud workers shouldn't involve a trade-off. They should, in fact, number one, have security built in and be able to handle any cloud worker scenario. Security shouldn't get in the way of what it is you're trying to achieve. Number two, they should give IT the visibility and control they need to manage and set security-related policies across extensions, browsers, and devices. And ideally, they should be compatible and comparable across all of those elements. Number three, they should keep users secure as they work, seamlessly protecting them from malicious activity. It should just happen in the background. It shouldn't be something that users have to be worried about, have to implement, or have to affect. It should be automatically in the background. And another big step is establishing the right level of control. Again, right level of control for IT doesn't necessarily mean it impacts user experience. It should enhance user experience. As they take on a more significant role in driving business advantage, your teams need to be ready to manage the IT environment that meets the needs really of these cloud workers. And it meets the needs of these cloud workers at scale if you're a really large company as well. The right choice of platform should not come at the expense of IT admin time, burdening them with added complexity. It should make the IT team's job easier. It should, number one, give IT the visibility and control they need to manage extensions and policies across the company. And they should be able to do that really, really easily, ideally in a single console. Number two, it should be easy to deploy at scale so that IT teams can spend time on other needs, as I mentioned, and other tasks. And number three, it should feature streamlined consoles with granular controls and intuitive UX and UI. We're all used to using app stores and applications now. It should be that simple. Click, decide what you want, drag and drop. It really should. That's what you should be demanding today from your technology that you're choosing. And number four, it should come with a peace of mind that 24/7 support is available in case your IT teams need it, ideally from your vendor or from your partner or both. Next is productivity, a really important piece of the jigsaw. The applications that cloud workers use every day are their most important tool. They master them to stay productive and connected with their collaborators, whether it be spreadsheets, whether it be presentations, whatever it might be. They are their tools. And at a minimum, the cloud worker needs a platform that's compatible with the most popular business applications so that they don't have to learn something new. They can just continue their user experience with the applications that they're used to. But the platforms truly designed for cloud workers should also, number one, provide easy access to the right apps for the right workers. That's a given. but it's quite difficult with some operating systems and some tools. Number two, it should be as untethered as your cloud workers are, so that they can pick up where they left off across devices or indeed locations. And number three, they should have a user experience that's seamless, with automatic backups ideally, without user interaction. Automatic updates the same, with no lost progress to productivity. And number four, it should be supported by a powerful ecosystem of developers that are building these future tools, so that new technology and new applications can be made available for your teams easily and really, really quickly without a lot of support. Sounds like Nirvana, right? It isn't. But lastly, you've got to also have the right devices. There's no point accessing all of these applications if you're on a really old-fashioned, clunky, hard to manage and upgrade device, or indeed a nice looking device with a great screen. Just like when work is limited to one physical location, like an office, if work can only be done on one type of device, there are serious limits to the promise of a cloud worker, because different cloud workers have different needs. They need devices that match the work they do, wherever they need to do it. That means, number one, devices need to be powerful, with really high processing power that don't slow down over time. Ideally, they need to speed up over time, not slow down. And number four, they need to be durable devices for the front lines, the back of house, and anywhere, in fact, that cloud workers take them. Devices should be reliable, quick to boot, and have less downtime. And versatile devices that cover a diversity of use cases, because people have different needs. Your people need to grab and go, for example, no problem. What about a laptop or a tablet with cloud identity enabled, so anyone can use it without compromise? And in COVID-19, again, of course, these days, we wipe it down before we hand it off to our employees. Very, very important. The platform designed for cloud workers is Chrome Enterprise, period. And it makes all these choices possible. It's been built from the ground up, from the biggest browser in the world, the most used browser and most loved browser in the world. It's been designed ground up for cloud workers. And now is the time of the cloud workers. Now is the time to embrace Chrome. It's secure by design. It enables IT to provide trusted applications to their users and protects against current and future threats. It delivers comprehensive, streamlined management that's configurable for your business, your specific business needs and standards. And it has the apps that cloud workers need today to stay productive and connected, and tomorrow. And Chrome Enterprise devices also deliver powerful capabilities across every single use case where you'll find a cloud worker. A lot of people don't know about Chrome Enterprise, so this is probably new to a lot of people listening to this, this keynote. But it really is the opportunity, the operating system, and the solution for the cloud workers. And COVID and the world that we're in now has made us all into these cloud workers. Because the workplace beyond place is here, and so is the cloud worker. This is their age. It's not a problem to be solved, it's an opportunity to be seized, to be taken, to be driven. We noted before that a crisis like coronavirus is forcing functions that test the shapes and strategies of our organizations. They reveal truths a lot more quickly. They reveal what you've got in place now, whether it's fit for purpose or not. I know it can come across and it can appear really, really scary to change from one operating system to another, but it isn't. Here at Google, we've made the Chrome Enterprise solution a solution that makes that journey easy for you. So what does it take to make the cloud workers work for you? To become not a company that simply has a cloud workforce, but to become a true cloud organization because of what that solution and what that technology can actually unlock. And it takes a mindset made for today and for what might be coming tomorrow. And I think in today's world, it's now apparent that we don't actually know what's coming tomorrow, but we do know that we're not going to be, tethered to that desk. We need to give people and our employees and our workforce the luxury to be able to work where they want, because that's happening today, it's happening now. And it takes recognition of the business critical need for empowered cloud workers in this new normal, and belief in the competitive advantage that is now there for enterprises and how you can seize it. I don't need to describe the urgency of the moment, but this really is our moment. This is our moment to make technology work for us. It's a miracle. It's out there. Technology has been built for years now to help us. And now it truly, truly can. It's a chance for every single one of us to rise to the occasion, to adapt and thrive within the workplace now and beyond. Our customers, for example, like SNL Zorg here, relies on Chromebooks to enable their caregivers to work from anywhere, to do their jobs faster and more efficiently, which means they can spend more time helping their clients. And in this use case, which we're particularly proud of here at Google, their clients are the people that need help. You know, the frontline workers in this scenario are saving lives. They're helping people have better lives. And Chrome can really help companies like ZL Zorg onto that journey. We know it's not easy. We know changing OS, we know changing technology is not easy. But think about it. In your past lives, you've done it. You've gone from Palm Pilots, in my case, if you're as old as me, I'm 55 years of age, but we've come from, Nokia phones without any, applications or email. We've gone on to Palm Pilots. We've then gone on to Symbian. And then we've gone on to maybe, Apple mobile phones. We've then maybe gone on to Android version 1, all the way up to the Android version that we're now on, or indeed the latest version of iOS. So, we've changed operating systems in the mobile world. We've had the pleasure and the beauty of moving along with that IT innovation and that IT movement. So why not the same with technology? Why not the same with laptops and operating systems? Look at the new operating system. Chrome Enterprise is here. It's here today. It's supported by a huge amount of OEMs, some fantastic partners across every country in the globe. And it really is here now to support your workforce, your cloud workers and people working from home. And that's why we're here ready to help. With a roadmap for the journey to the cloud workforce and what it can deliver, we really believe that Chrome Enterprise is the solution that can help you deliver your goals now, today, quickly, effectively and securely. Thank you very much for listening. My name's Mike Wyatt. And I represent Chrome Enterprise from Google. I've got a team spread across EMEA, and we'd be happy to help you out on your journey wherever we can. Thank you. Stay safe. Goodbye.
We've got some questions that have come in, so perhaps we can just get straight into it.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Perfect. So at the start of your presentation, or near the start, you kind of discussed and touched on in the months to come. How do you kind of envisage those months and beyond the kind of pandemic, the future of work? Do you think remote work is going to become even more prominent? And do you think the larger enterprises will be kind of moving to that kind of format and model?
Yeah, really good question, and something that's very relevant for all of us at the moment, wherever we are across the globe. So, yeah, I think who knows what's going to go on with the pandemic. I mean, it's sort of it's changing day by day, especially in the UK. But I do think that with things like school kids not going back now until probably March time, I think we're getting used to this working from home, and I think if you've got the technology that sort of supports that, then you're in a much better place. So I think going forward, I think we're going to get used to this. I think it's going to be a while before we really go back, tethered to offices like we were before last March. So it's definitely changed the way we work. I think some companies will go back to the office because they need to. Some regulated industries like banks, they need to be in front of, screens with their on-prem apps, absolutely. But I think the majority of companies have actually realised that you can be productive working from home. I've got a team of 11 across Europe, and I think we've actually got more productive and actually closer as a team because we're now working from home and collaborating via video mainly, and also selling via video as well, which is quite an interesting move for us. But I think it's going to change the way. I think it has changed the way we work already. I think it's made companies realise that they've really looked at the applications that they've used, and they've looked at. I was talking to a company last week, and they have 50 applications, for example, big retailer, and they've looked very, very closely at those applications to understand how many they physically need, and they've dropped that down to about 5 critical apps that are in the cloud. Wow. So they've enabled their cloud workers to get up to speed very, very quickly. So yeah, I think it's definitely going to change the way we work. I think less of us are going to go back to the office, and if we do go back to the office, it's probably going to be maybe just a couple of days a week. I mean, there's a big discussion at Google at the moment around, do we have this staged return to the office where maybe we have a couple of days a week, depending on what your role is, and then we look at that and see if that's working for the company, and then maybe increase it. But definitely going to continue, I think. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, for me personally, it means I'm not spending an hour and a half on the train going into London twice a day. So I've got that 3 hours back, and I've actually got my health back, and I'm not sat in a busy tube for half an hour a day. So I think there's a lot of good things that have come out of it. I also think it's going to be good for the planet as well. I fly all over Europe. My boss is in the US. I've got a lot of fridge magnets in my kitchens, all the trips that I've done, and I'm now not doing those. So I'm from a sustainability standpoint, I think it's good as well. So a lot of benefits that could come out of it, Chris. Yeah,
definitely. No, that's a really good answer. Thank you, Michael. I've had a good question come in from another Kevin from OpenBox. Michael, one thing that many feel is missing is the collaboration or side desk chats that enable knowledge sharing organically. Do Google have any plans for collaboration tools to bridge that gap?
It's a really good point. I was talking to one of the directors at Google actually last week, and I'm a very positive guy, so I was sort of talking about the positive benefits of working from home. But he quite rightly turned around and said, yeah, you've got to remember that Google is a very creative company. If for the last 21 years, we have some amazing people in the company, especially the engineers, and they're very creative, and they need to be together in rooms with flip charts and brainstorming, and that's how all the funky ideas that we brought to market. That's how they've come about, really. So it's a really good point, because we're now not doing that. It's a lot more difficult collaborating over video and trying to come up with new ideas and bouncing off of each other, because as humans we're all connected. That's in our DNA. So from a sort of a human perspective, I do think it's going to take its toll. Absolutely. I do think, imagine if you're an entrepreneur at the moment, it's going to be a lot harder to get funding. It's going to be a lot harder to be, to sell your ideas to the market that you're trying to create. So but talking about physical tools, I mean, obviously we've got things like Hangouts, and we've got, good collaboration tools, which work really, really well, but, and they do work well, but you still, technology still can't give you that physical, the physical interaction and the benefits that you get from that. So that's one of the reasons why I think actually going back to an office or meeting up a couple of times a week is really crucial as we go forward, because that's where we get our ideas from, and that's where we bounce off all of our creativity. So it's a really good question. Any ideas on what those tools should be? I'd love to hear them.
Well, it's an interesting question. We've heard it come up a few times at these events, just how to kind of create those water cooler moments, and that's kind of creates innovation, particularly in companies like Google. You hear the water cooler moments come up quite
absolutely. And not just creating products, but also all the go-to-market stuff as well. So I although I'm the manager of my team come up with way better ideas than I ever I could ever come up with. So I do try and promote that across the team if possible, by just making more of the team inclusive in that process. So really just listening to more people, because I think this forum, now that we're working from home, it gives more people that platform. But again, but that's down to the managers and the directors of the business to allow that to happen. And I do think working from home does give you that space, I think.
Definitely. Time for one more quick question here, coming from CFJ Mooney. What are the particular challenges in persuading people to move away from their comfort zones, and how do you persuade those who are attached to their traditional tools? So I guess, in a sense, moving people away from current systems into kind of the Chrome enterprise system and infrastructure.
Really good question. That's what me and my team spend our working days doing. So that's a really good question. It's difficult. I'll be honest. It's difficult. I mean, it's difficult in some companies and it's easy in others, because it really depends on how agile the company, how open maybe the IT director or the CTO, how open they are for new technologies. So I think you know, if we go into a company, and I'll give you a good example. Let's say we talk to a new prospect. So, you know, I have one of my guys in Dublin. They call up a company. You know, the IT director or the CTO goes, "Oh, do you know what? I'd like to listen to this. It's new. I hear it's growing magnificently. You know, maybe my kids are using Chromebooks upstairs now because I'm homeschooling. So let's have a listen to how far Google's come with this technology." And you know, we talk about it, and sometimes a use case comes to mind immediately. So, for example, I'm using Citrix. I understand it works really well with Citrix in a VDI situation. Or I've got a lot of frontline workers and I don't want a heavy overhead. Or I've just moved, or had a good discussion with a major UK bank yesterday who's now up to 20,000 Chromebooks. And he moved a lot of his staff very, very quickly to work from home. So he needed a device that was easy to update, easy to manage, you know, zero touch enrollment. And more importantly, it was easy for the users to actually get to grips with really, really quickly. So Chrome just fitted into that really, really well. So first of all, if the use case is a really good one, that's a tick in a box. It's an easy sell for us because the companies get it. But there are an awful lot of companies out there that are addicted, quite rightly, and wedded to Windows, for example, because it's got the majority of the market share at the moment. So our job as a team is really to challenge you know, these IT departments, these CEOs and CTOs, just to challenge them, just to you know, really try this new operating system called Chrome. And we do that with a small pilot and then a proof of concept, and then we really get a sponsor within the company, and then they go away and they understand where Chrome can fit. So it is it can be scary, you know, because we've got everything's embedded. You know, your support staff know Windows, your IT team know Windows. Everybody's been using Windows for a long time. So it's a real shift, a real sort of mental brave shift to go onto a new operating system. But I will just leave you with, you know, I could introduce you to any one of our customers, and you know, once you've made that transition. And most companies are doing it because most companies are going into the cloud or have already gone into the cloud. And again, COVID's really speeded that up. But most, you know, all of our customers that have done it, whether they've done it completely like Veolia across the whole business, or whether they've just done it for a specific use case, they wouldn't go back. You know, they say, I wish I'd done this a few years ago. But again, my team can help articulate that and give you the tools to try it out if that's of interest.
Perfect. Well, Michael, thanks so much for joining. Thanks for the presentation and for the insights in the Q&A session. Very helpful. People want to contact you and get in touch, find you on LinkedIn and things like that. And I think your details will be provided at some point as well if people want to follow up the conversation. So, Michael, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, it's been a pleasure having you with us.
Great. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for the opportunity. Take care. Cheers. Bye. Thanks.